Well, I turned my data off. See if they can't mess with my video. Because I think they're going through the data and then they're messing with my video. To where it's doing all this skipping of words and like it's edited or something. But Trump can sit here when he first ran and said, I can shoot someone. And they'd still love me. So that's what Stockholm Syndrome is. He's putting it in your face that he knows what Stockholm Syndrome is. And when he created the MAGA thing, that's a scam, it's a spell. He put a spell on you with a word games, word spells. And then he took, because he made that one comment, well, he can't shoot no one because then, it'd make him look bad. After saying that and then trying it and seeing how everybody reacts. He goes in on a fake shooting of himself. Yeah, maybe a real person ended up shot dead and somebody else ended up shot and injured. That's part of it. Got to make it look good. I got to make it look real. Well, Trump's ear is pretty much like my ear. It's nearly up against his head. And so the bullet shot through his ear. Well, in order for a 223 about as thick as my finger can do that, and say the tip just goes right past the back of the ear, so it can move it out and hit the inside of the ear to go through his ear. Feel it. Any of you who's like this, or even if your ear sticks out, it's still gotta go through that little bend right there to go through his ear. Unless you got one of those ears that's folded out, then it can hit in a way that it's more closer to the outside but goes through. Well, he has a bandage that covered it. Doctor says, oh, it's all swollen. If it was swollen, this part would be swollen too. Not just back here, up here, whatever. He says ear was swollen. So having that deal from right here, the only where it could stop, and then down here, where it stops at the back of the ear, they can't go no further unless they would have made it shorter in the back and longer on the other side so it covered his whole ear. It was a fake shooting. Because it has to scrape the side of his head too to go through. Especially if it's at an angle like this, a little bit. It's got to hit the back of his head, the side. Or if it's more like the other way, a teeny bit enough, it's got to strike right here, somewhere. It has to hit his head, his face, or the back, or both. Then there would have been blood everywhere. The ear has a main vein, a big vein. It would have been pouring, gushing out. And when he stuck his hand like this, he touched his ear. He like this. He didn't grab his ear. Look at the video. He touched his ear with the tips of his fingers, and he had them down like this. So it was kind of a little bit harder to see, but you could tell. If he touched right here, there was no blood on his hands. It was all a lie. Blood all over my hand, and then he raises it up, and you could see the bottom of his hand. If it was all over his hand, it'd be all the way down on his thumb, all over everywhere, spraying out his ear, gushing out his ear. It'd been all covered in blood. But he can do no wrong, because he's got a spell on you to make America great again, and that's all you're worried about. You ain't worried about the lies that he's putting out in front of your face. You're ignoring it. Stockholm Syndrome. You praise and back your enslaver. He's enslaved you into politics, into voting. It's slavery. You're voting to be a slave. We're not supposed to be voting. This was created after 1871, all these presidential shit and voting. I don't think they even created a government with voting. I think they just created a government to be there for, by the people, to be there for the people. To help protect us from these foreigners, to be like, hey, get the word out. Run the messenger. Or messengers, to get the word out. We're about to be under attack. That's all that they was created for. Like a home base. And then we, the people, create our militias. And we train ourselves how to shoot guns, be safe, be careful, and all of that. That's what we do. That's how we regulate it. Our own militias. That's what it means. But people want to believe the lies of history that was taught by evil people that won the war and took it all over. They lied about history. If they created the government, it was not to create presidents. They did not want a leader. They were anarchists, rebels, outlaws. They would tell the king F off and they would shoot at the police. F off, we're not obeying you. And I'm not saying be violent. I'm just saying walk away and say leave me alone, or I will be, or you can force me to be violent back against you. I have the right to defend myself and my right to free will to be free. The right to free will to choose how you want to live your life, what you want to do, what you want to eat, what you want to put in your body, what drugs you want to do. That's your free will right, given to you by God, that no man can take away, but then you're letting another man take your free will away and mine when I do not want to be governed. Voluntarism, to be governed. I do not volunteer to be governed. I don't want no other corrupt human being governing me. Not you, not anyone you choose. No one. Nothing in that Bible says that man's laws is the law of the land. That you are to obey the men in the government that writes the laws of the land. Show me where it states that. Anything close to that. Only says a government. And the government is in power. Not the people running the government. Not the people hired to be in the government. The government as an entity that cannot make law. Because they knew that. And since the government's in control, but the government don't have the ability and the granted authority to create laws, only Congress that's made up of humans that they put in there so they can do that, well, then we're free. But you don't want that. You want to be controlled. That's what you vote for. To have a leader that writes laws and controls you, but the president can't make laws. Congress can't even make law. They can only write policies, statutes, codes, regulations, edicts, ordinances, mandates, and doctrines, and acts. That's all they can create. They cannot create law. And none of it, when you read the labels of all those codes and doctrines, none of it says these codes are law and to be seen as law. They're just codes, statutes, and doctrines and acts, not said to be law on each of those. And to be obeyed by the people. Only persons that are personnel of a corporation or more that belongs to the United States Corporation and whatever other corporation it belongs to. We don't have a government. 18 U.S. Code 3002. United States government is a federal corporation, not a government. So you all take care. Bye.